this power of manifestation is learning how to, first of all, see your own filters, choose them and adjust them so that they're picking up the stuff that's truly useful. Because the thing is there's so much information. And frankly, you know, a lot of times we're worried about, like, is it true? Well, there's a lot of truth out there, but which truth is relevant for you right now and which one is the most helpful?
I think that the stuff that we need falls on our lap, I would even almost say every day. But when we're going back to the busy part, because this is where we identify with each other so well, because I was a workaholic, got myself to where I thought I was having a heart attack at age 31, you know, like, oh my gosh. Right. I was telling my wife to take me to the hospital, like, and she was able to calm me down. It was a panic attack, but I thought my heart was going to come out of my chest. That's what it felt like. It was heart palpitations and everything. And so I've done that, you know, working the 18-hour days, like you said. So we definitely can identify with that. And then I think even that, and many people do that, then how can you be aware? If you're just barreling through all the work, how do you have the breath to be aware that the thing that you need? Like, it's like, hey, this exit, get off the road, take this exit, you know, you know, I don't know. Is there any awareness, or like what you suggest so people can be, you know, more aware? Like, what are the ways that you give yourself space to find that awareness, to see that this is coming and it's good? Or do you
Thank
know?
you, Steve. You know, that is actually it's a very large and very important question that I definitely actually have multiple layers of answers to. So I think the first thing is, you know, for some people, this is the power of manifestation, you know, that we have the ability to manifest all kinds of things in our reality. And I'll come back to that, because I also want to talk about some of the brain science behind what I believe manifestation is and how it works. So the bottom line is that reality is very full. There's so much that happens constantly. There's so many people, so much activity, you know, and it's happening everywhere. And our minds are not designed to be able to take all of that activity. In fact, if we were, we would probably go insane, or we would have a mental breakdown, because it would be an overflow of information. And in fact, there's various psychiatric disorders that are that disturbance of filtering of information. And so, you know, folks that have that may have a harder time functioning in the world in terms of like prioritizing the stimulus that's coming at them. So for example, being able to hear sound and distinguish the sound that's most important, not all the sound in the room simultaneously. Right. You know, it's kind of the stuff that I'm talking about. So there's constantly things happening, and some of those things are very good. Some of those things are opportunities, and they are maybe happening everywhere simultaneously. And some of those things could also be bad, and they could be painful, you know, so all the range of all the things is constantly happening, and we can't hold it all at once. So what our brain does is it creates filters. We rely on heuristics and rules that we have internalized to understand our reality. And the way that we filter information will show us what's available in our immediate surroundings. So a person who's filtering for opportunities will see opportunities, and a person who's filtering for pain will see pain, and a person who's filtering for self-criticism will find lots of things wrong with themselves. And a person who's filtering for everything their friends and family is doing right will have a lot of gratitude and have a lot of experiences of people succeeding all around them. Mm-hmm. And so we get to choose, to some extent, some of those filters, and then some of them come with presets. You know, they are our belief systems that happened when we were kids. And so I think that this power of manifestation is learning how to, first of all, see your own filters, choose them and adjust them so that they're picking up the stuff that's truly useful. Because the thing is there's so much information. And frankly, you know, a lot of times we're worried about, like, is it true? Well, there's a lot of truth out there, but which truth is relevant for you right now and which one is the most helpful? And that's really what we need to focus on. And so that's kind of that openness, that manifestation. For me, that's where that comes from. So I felt that in that moment when I saw your video, I was very open for help. I was inviting, you know, anyone and everyone who might have any assistance to provide to me, that's what I was filtering for is, I need help. How do I do it? I need help. How do I do it? I need help. How do I do it? You know, and then there was a lot of, I can't do this alone. I really, really can't. And I'll do anything. I found some of my greatest manifestations have happened when I completely surrender and say, I will do anything. And I mean, within the realm of accounting, because that's what we're talking about. But I mean, things to me have happened to me. Like when I was trying to quit my auditing job, I got an incredible lead for a job on the subway. Someone actually walked up to me on the subway and pretty much offered me a job. And I more or less took it. I had to go through an interview process that lasted a few weeks, you know, so it's not like they just handed it to me. But I actually found a job on the subway, took it, and it was the best job, one of the best jobs I ever had. And it was instrumental in healing my administrative trauma and became the basis in some ways of the work that I do now. And that was because I surrendered and I was like, somebody help me. I will do anything. And I was so sincere in that I will do anything.
Yeah.
But the pain was so large.
Right. And I think and this is what makes your story so clear and easy to learn from, because maybe not everyone is in as much pain, but they are. And like you said, it's a choice. And then that allows us, to have new awareness when we want to choose something new. And it's like this tricky situation, because I keep coming to these words of, it's like you want to reach for what you want, but you also want to let go, which seems like this crazy oxymoron, right? Where like, because that's what manifestation is. And what always works best for me, the metaphor is to know where we want to go and then be willing to take different roads. Because I think what we do as humans, and I know I did this, is that I've found the path, like logic, right? And you saw this path, and then the path gets really, really hard. And you're like, I think I'm going in the right direction. This is where I wanted to go, but whoa, this is ugly. This is not fun. This is hurting me. And we forget that, you know what, you can still have your dreams. You can still do what you're doing. And even like you said, the world is telling you to be an accountant, to like help people in the accounting realm, but you're doing it in a totally different way. The road that you were on was not working for you. And one way we can say it was broken is like, the metaphor I like to use is like, can you imagine setting your GPS, you're finding your way, but it's like this old map. And then you find yourself on this broken road. There's holes everywhere. Your car that you're in, the vehicle you're in, is falling apart because it's bouncing around so much. And like you're getting hurt. And then finally you get to this point, and there's someone waving at you, and you roll down the window and they're like, what are you doing on this road? What do you mean? I'm going here. Oh, yes, you can. But this road has been closed for 20 years. There's a new road over there. What? It's kind of like that. It's like, okay, we can still get where we want to go. So I always say, don't give up on your dreams, but be willing to let go of the path, the way that we're getting there. There's so many ways to get there. And that's what I'm hearing. Like, at one point in your career, I don't know, did you ever think like, I don't want to do accounting, maybe thinking that the whole thing was wrong,
yes.
but real. Okay.
Well, that's exactly what happened. So I actually, so after, I had the job I found on the subway. It was the perfect job, and it was so awesome. And, as these things go, they're so awesome until they're not, right? So 3 years later, it had changed, and I found myself quitting my job actually in the middle of the busiest time, because it was funny. I wanted to do fundraising. I wanted to do nonprofit fundraising, and I wanted to raise $10,000 for children's cancer research and shave my head. And that was like a personal project I was working on. And as I was working on that project, I realized that my work in the financial industry sure was getting in the way of my fundraising. That also happened to be happening during the busiest accounting time. And I thought, gee, if this is how I'm thinking, then maybe this is not the right work for me. If it just, if at the time when I need to be the most committed, I'm feeling so disengaged, I feel like it's meddling with my personal stuff. That's totally the wrong attitude to have towards work. So I knew I had to leave. And just to tell you, this was a very well-paying job in a great location with a lot of vacation. I could more or less show up whenever I wanted, do whatever projects I wanted. If I didn't want to do it, I didn't really have to do it. I had the best boss in the whole wide world, who was one of the most talented accountants I've ever worked with. I mean, this was the cream of the crop job, and I found myself unhappy and wanting to leave. And I thought, if I can have everything right and I still feel this unsatisfied. I mean, I was going to the gym at lunchtime for an hour. I was in peak physical condition that I'd ever been in, you know. All my coworkers were into it. It was good.
It's the opposite of the other job, just to point out.
Yeah,
complete opposite.
Yes, it was the best. And it was still not the thing for me somehow. So the super busy, you know, drain yourself, sacrifice yourself didn't work. So did the super moderate, very cushy, comfortable, amazing work also didn't work. And at that point, I'm like, maybe it's accounting. Maybe I shouldn't be an accountant. And so I took 6 months off work and I did volunteer work in education, trying to find out what was going to be my next profession. And as I was doing that, I started taking NLP Marin classes. I thought it was a communication course. It was so much more than that.
Yeah.
It ended up changing my life and also, you know, greatly impacting my work.
And we met there.
We met there. That's
so
right.
That's also a thing that happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And at the time I was not wanting to be an accountant. In fact, I was trying not to be an accountant, except I did need to generate income eventually. And accounting work was what people were offering. And it was fairly easy to get, you know, fairly well paying. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just do this while I figure out the other thing. And as I continued to figure out the other thing, my accounting work started to change and it started to get more enjoyable. And I started to notice, oh, okay, well, I really like accounting. It's just the context it happens in I don't like.
Hey there, I want to give you something really big. It's called Clear Path to Customers. It's the way that we get the right language to get the right client. I like to call them your wow clients so that you can have more results, more revenue, more raving fans, and more referrals. And I want to give this to you absolutely free. And all you have to do is go to stevenapolitan.com to check it out, or you can look at the description here. We'll put the details there. As always, remember, choose gratitude and create freedom.